fact that the president is a candidate does not mean that he has left the responsibility of being commander-in-chief.
Because they are the present administration as well.
And that they were the ones who did this, who are in charge, they were in charge, and so on, during this period. And we are being made to understand now that maybe that is about to happen. We are expecting to hear from one of the presidential spokespersons on this matter. One can only assume that they had tried to get all the details as well to know what exactly it was that transpired and so on, in order for the federal government to take a position on it ahead of whatever it is that is going to take its place as we go on forward from Monday and Tuesday and so on. So when people talk, or when we've been talking about the fact that we need to get reactions, we need to get people to talk about this, we need to get people to understand, we need to get people to follow through on some of the things. I understand that we're hearing now that Malam Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, has just done precisely that.
And I think he's in Daura.
Yes.
On the current national situation, and this is the statement. The President says, I am deeply disappointed that despite the long notice given and our preparations, both locally and internationally, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, postponed the presidential and the National Assembly elections within hours of its commitment. Many Nigerians have traveled to various locations to exercise their right to vote, and international observers are gathered.
We seem to have a bit of a pause there. If we can get the balance of that statement from Malam Garba Shehu, but at least we got enough.
Yeah, essentially what he was saying was that the president is disappointed by the postponement, seeing that there was such a long time given, the long duration.
Essentially agreeing with Mr. Oluwade, yes. Wale Oluwade here in our studios.
And also mentioning something I was talking about the international observers, the long and short-term monitors who had also gathered to see this. I think that was the bit we were able to get.
The key point, of course, being that the president is disappointed. Mm-hmm. As disappointed as possibly everybody else, maybe not angry, but disappointed in it, and would expect, I can't quite recollect, one of our guests did say that possibly on Monday, there should be some consultation between the president and the INEC chairman for him to get a briefing as to what exactly is it that took place and what exactly needs to be done for this to happen next week and all of that. And I'm sure all that will...
And you know, even INEC saying that they're disappointed as well. But beyond the disappointment, you then need to look at where to plug the holes so that in the next 1 week and in the next 4 years, we don't come back to this point again.
It's seeming to become kind of a trend, which is what was referred to a little bit earlier on, which is that from 2011, then 2015, and now 2019, maybe for different reasons, we've had this. But I want to believe that we can return to our Abuja studios now. Not yet. Okay. So in that case, it would leave one with the impression that maybe the situation is such that many of the things that there are, I know Professor Dinkalu did make mention of some things earlier on where he said, oh, they're better said off camera. But you ask yourself the question, even if that were to be true, and if indeed his statement that quite a number of senior politicians knew this beforehand, How did they know? Probably even for INEC. Maybe that's something else.
Another conspiracy theory. There's so many
right.
out there. So maybe we should put it back to him.
That's right.
Professor
Dinkalu is back along with Mr. Oluwade. Now, Mr. Oluwade, I'm sure you'll be delighted. Maybe not delighted, but you'll be surprised, maybe, pleased, possibly, to know that the president agrees with you. He's as disappointed in you in the idea that these elections have been postponed. And he says INEC had enough time, a long time, to do this.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ladi, I mean, exactly, that's exactly my point, because it's 4 years, you know, elections, you know, forget about the off-season elections. The presidential elections holds every 4 years. And 4 years is enough time to plan, you know, for a smooth, free, fair, credible, transparent election. There is no, there's no excuse. What INEC did this morning is absolutely inexcusable. There is no way that it can be excused. There is no logistical nightmare that INEC can justifiably, you know, provide, you know, to say this is the reason why we did, because they had 4 good years, you know. It befuddles my mind that, a week, 2 weeks before elections, they will begin to see this drama, you know, this theatrics of, you know, they will start saying, oh, this aircraft is moving this to this place. These are things that should be done seamlessly and months, you know, before election day. That is planning. You know, you don't wait for 72 hours, 48 hours, then before everybody begins to run around like a headless chicken, you know, all in a bit, or to be seen, to be doing something so awesome. What is so fantastic about conducting elections? I said it here and I'm repeating it. This is so simple. You know, this is something it is ordinary. There is no big deal about conducting elections. If we can't put a man on the moon, for Christ's sake, if we can't build a spacecraft and take a man to land on the moon, why can't we conduct simple elections? Just deploy logistics, deploy the people, and ask them to stay there. And mind you, Ladi, Ijoma, all the military personnel, road safety, civil defense, for the day of the elections, they all answer to the chairman of INEC. So he can mobilize them, he can dictate to them what to do. You know, why should we have the debacle, you know, the very sad and gory, you know, story that we saw in Oka, where, so-called ghosts, you know, went to the INEC premises and burnt down, you know, not the building, not the admin building, but this ghost knew exactly the container where those card reader machines were, and they burnt it. And as we speak, I haven't heard that anyone has been arrested, not talk of facing the criminal justice system. You know, so like I said, this boils down to a failure, you know, of the governance system, the processes at INEC. And somebody, I'm telling you, even if Professor Mahmoud is allowed to conduct these elections, he should be asked to resign. If he refuses to resign, he should be sacked. Because, we can't be, Nigeria has had enough embarrassment, you know, in the Committee of Civilized Nations. How long are we going to continue, you know, in this quagmire, in this funny, you know, going around in circles, you know, doing mundane things that ordinary nations, you know, simple other nations do on a daily basis, effortlessly. What's the big deal about conducting elections?
Mr. Luwede, let me come to you again to ask. Not until when we began to ask for comments, for people to write in or to send us messages about the process, did we understand how many gaps there were in voter education. Now you begin to hear, oh, it's not solely INEC's responsibility. Then sometimes they say, oh, it's INEC's responsibility. Looking at the time we have left, and I know you keep saying they had 4 years, but the reality is it has been postponed. In the time that we have left, what would you like to see INEC do come Monday to come out strong, to tell us what we should now begin to expect for Saturday?
Good question, Ijoma. I expect right now, as we speak, even from early in the morning, they should begin to move those so-called sensitive or non-sensitive materials, you know, to all the local governments, to all the states. The things they wait, you know, my you know, grouse with the INEC is, why do you have to wait 48 hours to deploy, you know, logistics, you know, for this election? So So they should begin to do those things now.
Well,
the things they wait and begin to do like firefighters, like in a fire brigade approach, begin to do those things now.
I think sometimes
mobilize
the
people,
fear,
get them ready, begin to train them.
I think sometimes the concern or the fear, releasing those materials way ahead of time is, you could get into the hands of the wrong people. So perhaps sometimes you hear that that's the reason they delay. I don't know whether that is what it should be.
Ijoma, it does not have to be announced. There's no need to announce it. It does not have to be publicized to the whole world. You don't have to publicize it. Move those things there, deploy security to protect them. Look at the incident in Oka, for instance. The card reader machines were deployed to Oka. They were kept in the container. Nobody knew. But then, why didn't they have, security guards, man those equipment for Christ's sakes? Because the challenge with logistics is when you wait, even in our private lives, we know if you wait till the last minute to do what you ought to have done ordinarily when you're under pressure, you're going to make mistakes. So do those things now. Begin to move those logistics. Begin to move the men. Don't wait till the last minute. Otherwise, you'll have problems. And then if you deploy them now and you see there's a mistake, you can correct them, effortlessly. You see the gaps, you close those gaps, and you do the right thing without disruption in the schedule of activities.
What else would you like to see? What else would you like to see? You were enumerating them.
Yes, I mean, for starters, sensitive or non-sensitive materials, whatever it's called, they should begin to move them now. Security personnel should begin to move, to be deployed now, to man those places. It is foolhardy. It is the height of incompetence and ineptitude to wait 48 hours, 24 hours to deploy men and materials for elections across 774 local governments. It doesn't work. I don't know where you do that. That's not planning. That's not execution. No matter how brilliant your plan is, execution could make or mar such plans. So begin to do those things now. Move the men, move the materials. Get security to all those places. Let everybody be on ground and ready. So that election day next Saturday, people come out. Okay, look at Osun State elections. I mean, adjudged, that's the elections of 22nd September last year. It is adjudged perhaps the best after June 12, 1993 elections. People said 2015 elections were free and fair. I don't think so. Besides the magnanimity and humility of the former President Goodluck Jonathan, it will have been a different thing entirely. But let's leave that. Osun State elections, 22nd, not the 27th. The 22nd, it was the planning, the execution was good. It was appreciably, a lot better. Now we should do the same thing. By 8 a.m., when voters troop out to the polling centers, the INEC officials, everything should be ready. Now, if you don't deploy all these materials and the personnel, way before that time, and they're prepared, they're ready, if you repeat what happened, this last few days, you're going to end up with the same fiasco, next week.
Now, Professor Dinkalu, let me come to you and put the same question across to you. Step by step, I mean, given your vantage position as well, step by step now, if you were in a position to whisper into the INEC chairman's ear, knowing what you know, what are the steps he should take to ensure that at the end of the day, as difficult as this is, as painful as he described it in the statement, it would go some way to ensuring a better exercise come next week?
I frankly, it's a difficult situation. I know the INEC chairperson. He's a friend. I wouldn't lie about that. Knowing him, I know he's chastened by this turn of events. Quite clearly, it seems to me the first thing is to show that institutionally and individually, INEC is chastened. And I do think Nigerians do deserve more than just the statement we got last night, but then most people were asleep at the time that statement was made. I believe that sometime in the course of today, INEC should express profound apologies to all Nigerians and show that in its body language, it empathizes with families who are going to have to struggle with difficulties through this season of substantial lockdown, and also families that have had to relocate from one part of the country to the other because of insecurity.
Sorry, Professor Dinkalu, apologies to have to cut in there. Let's just go on a quick break, and we'll let you conclude your thoughts immediately we get back.